Good morning, anybody who's just coming on here. We're just going to wait about 1 or 2 minutes just to give people a shot to come in, but we'll get started here in about 1 or 2 minutes. And just some quick notes, the recording will be available after the webinar. All of our webinars are going to be available on clearestimates.com/webinars, and you'll also you'll get a link in your email since you registered for it. You'll get a link in your email a couple of hours from now with the link direct to the recording as well. So take a look for that in the next few hours, and we'll just wait another minute or two and let people get in, and then we'll get started. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'll go through a few things as people still filter in. We're just a few minutes after 8 right now, or after 10 right now. So I'll just go over a few things here. Welcome to the webinar. It's presented by Clear Estimates. Wyatt Knight's going to be speaking. He did a great webinar about a month ago for us as well. So this, I'm sure, is going to be another great one. There will be a recorded version available after the webinar. If you didn't hear me a couple minutes ago, all of our webinars are available at clearestimates.com/webinars. And you're also going to get a link in your email a few hours after the webinar with a link to the recorded version as well. So there's a few ways you can do it and how you can view some of our older ones if you'd like to as well. For better video quality, some suggestions. You can try closing out other programs on your computer. Connecting using Chrome usually works best as your browser. If you're on your computer or laptop rather than a mobile device, that'll work better. And just a quick note on the right side, there is a chat. So if you have questions, I will do my best to answer them throughout. And you know, I can ask Wyatt to answer those questions as needed. Otherwise, I will try to answer them as we go in the chat as well. So just a quick intro. My name is Jack Dean from Clear Estimates. You've probably seen emails from me about this webinar, and if you're a Clear Estimates customer, about all sorts of other things. We're starting off a webinar series, so we're hoping to have kind of a lot of webinars available for lots of different things, between you know, creating estimates, to marketing, to sales, to you know, business strategies, things like that. So keep a lookout in your email for upcoming webinars. Again, if you go to clearestimates.com/webinars, which you can also go to clearestimates.com, and in the support tab, there's a webinars option. That's where we'll have all of our webinars, along with where you can register for upcoming ones as well. So if you don't get the email, you can go to that page at any point to see what we have upcoming. So we're hopefully going to be doing quite a few of these, and hopefully they're going to be very useful. All of them will be recorded. And if you have any suggestions for webinars, please feel free to just send me an email, jack@clearestimates.com, and we'll be more than happy to consider it and add it to the plan. And we want to make these useful for you guys, useful for everybody out there. So we're not just putting these on to show you how to use clear estimates or anything. We want these to be valuable resources for you. So if you have an idea of something you'd like to see, please just reach out and let us know. So without much further ado, we've got a few people still coming in, it looks like, but we're going to go ahead and get started. I'll send it over to Wyatt. He's going to be running the webinar today. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to add them to the chat, or we'll be glad to answer those as best we can.
Well, thank you, Jack. I appreciate the introduction there. Like Jack said, we started off this webinar series last month, and we just jumped in and did a major kitchen remodel. And today we're going to do a full basement remodel demonstration. But before I get into that, I kind of want to tell you a little bit about me, who I am, so everybody knows who's talking on the other end. Again, like Jack said, my name is Wyatt Knight. I am a builder, contractor, architectural designer, consultant, and I got a lot of names, I guess, a lot of titles, but I've been in the industry my entire life, and I owned and operated my own construction company for over 17 years. And at its peak, was doing a couple $1 million a year. So I definitely come from a place where I speak the language. I know what you guys are going through. I know I've been there, I've done that. And now I still today, still as a consultant, I still work with my contractor clients and do everything from sales and estimating to design, architectural design, that is, and help them with just about everything, marketing and so on. But what it comes down to, I pretty much, the only thing I don't do is I don't swing a hammer anymore. So, well, that being said, we partnered with Clear Estimates to kind of produce these webinars to, just like Jack said, bring as much value to you guys as possible. And based on kind of putting together the webinar last month and kind of going through and showing some tactical things, we kind of got some resounding feedback that you guys are looking for some help in quite a few other areas. So as Jack said, that this one is going to be about a full basement remodel. And here is the little house. This is an actual project. So I'm not talking to you from a standpoint of just talk. This is an actual project that I designed and created an estimate for. And as you can see, it's just a simple little house, here in northern Minnesota. I'm located up in Duluth, but looking through this, you can see it's just a plain unfinished basement, with the furnace in the middle, stairs coming right down the middle. And you can see over here that kind of the one issue that we ran into was all the plumbing right here where my mouse is. Let's see if I can use this little this laser pointer thing. Right here is where the toilet location is, and then there's further plumbing along the wall, and then back here. And that was really the only thing that presented issues. And then the location of the furnace. Again, you can see here just a couple more pictures before we jump into it, but you can see right here, there is my laptop that I take to job sites. You can see I got my little laser disto measure tool and my notebook, and I'm snapping photos, taking measurements, and I'm doing the as-built drawing. So I'll show you a little bit more about that here as we go forward. But before we jump right into the actual estimate and the things that the nuts and bolts of this training, I want to walk you through the process of this project from start to finish. Before I do that, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the tools and systems the processes, the procedures that I use myself, and I help and coach and train my contractor clients to implement into their businesses. And the reason being is I've found a ton of success, and so do my clients, using these things. And it really brings a lot of value into not only your life, but your business, because it saves you time. And, it just, at the end of the day, makes you more profitable. So, what I've done is, I call this, it's a complete system, but I call it the design, build, remodel business development system. And when properly implemented and utilized, it is simply a smarter approach to building and remodeling, and you'll see why. So basically, there's 10 main components to the system. And as you can see here, I mean, this is just the logo that I put together to kind of bring it together. And, kind of from the top down, it really starts with marketing, and then there's the architectural design or design build methods. And then that rolls right into estimating, sales, the handoff from sales to production. Production also includes, project management and things like that. And then from production, you lead into, components such as retention, and that's post-production strategies, such as customer retention, warranty punch list, reviews, that sort of thing. And then you can't, none of this is really possible without your team, without your personnel. And so there's a big part of your company is how you handle your people. And so that's kind of a big part of it too. So, and then you get into the legal thing, the foundation of your business is set up on legal. And if you don't do that right, it can all come crashing down with one little issue. So, and then ultimately, you got to have the money, the financial stuff in place to make sure this all works. So, those different components, there's multiple modules within each one of those components and many aspects to each of those components. But, I've got a full, we can send the link as well, if anybody's interested, where there's a full slide deck on multiple slides on each one of these components and different modules and such. So I'm not going to talk about all of those things today, but I do want to touch on the marketing and sales automation module. And the reason being is that it brings such value. I mean, just the time savings alone, and the suite of tools that I use for my marketing and sales that ties everything together, it's a phenomenal tool. It pre-qualifies my leads. It absolutely educates my homeowners. It walks them through the buying process. And ultimately, once I start communicating with them, the marketing leads to the sales process. Once I start talking with them, they're already ready to buy. And it's such a phenomenal tool that, once you start actually using it and see the capability and the potential of it, you'll be wondering why you weren't doing it sooner. That's really what it comes down to. So, and I'll show maybe a little bit if we've got time today on that. But, talking about the as-built drawings, most every project that I'm involved with anymore, but most of my contractors are doing the larger remodels and building projects. They really start with design, and for that matter, if a more accurate estimate starts with a good design. So the part of this component, is the resounding response from last month's webinar. We mentioned, some strategies and things on how to stop giving free estimates. And all of this is about, saving time doing estimates, doing more accurate estimates, those type of things. But if you're still going out and giving free estimates or advertising free estimates for that matter, we've got a great way to show you how to not do that anymore, and to get paid for your to estimate your jobs, and eliminate your competition in the process. And I am very excited about this whole system. Reason being is because we're professionals, just like attorneys and lawyers or accountants and any type of professional. We should get paid for our time. So this, because of the resounding response from last month's webinar, we're going to dive real deep into this topic on next month's webinar. So stay tuned. Make sure you sign up for that one. We're going to go into it and show you some real strategies as far as messages, phone scripts, that kind of thing to send out. So, further into the whole design build component, there's different types of templates and things that we use and help implement into your business. One of them is a design agreement. And if you look, I brought in just a quick example of my design agreement, and you can see it's got like a background of a floor plan, and it's got different choices. And I'm not going to go too much into it, but just the type of agreements that we use, they're built for sales. Yeah, they cover your butt legally, make sure that you're getting paid for your services, your customers know what they're getting, so on and so forth. But you can see there, it's each of those documents, the contract type documents, are set up and built for sales. So I think it's an 11-page document that, and part of my design build process is I send that document out ahead of time. And so I'll jump into a few other things once I get out of this slide deck. But again, this is, there's quite a bit to each one of these components. And so if any of you guys want to hear more about any one of the components or the modules or any one of the templates or anything like that, make sure just let us know. We want to help. That's what we're here for. And so I'm going to keep moving and kind of jump into, where really what design leads to. And I pretty much do not do an estimate on a project unless I've done a design on it. And I'm going to show you why. The tool that I use it does the takeoff for me. It gives me all the numbers I need for my estimate, and I don't have to think too hard. And actually what it ends up doing is it limits my mistakes, because the human error, you get in a rush, you get distracted, whatever the case, we're all pretty good at what we do. However, we just overlook things. And that's some of these tools and systems, the processes that we use, that takes that margin of error way down. You're never going to eliminate it 100%. However, it's, the best you can do is just, decrease that as much as possible. So really the nuts and bolts of the webinar today is going to be on, actually creating an estimate. And I'm going to show you from scratch, start to finish, creating a full basement remodel estimate. And I'm going to show you how I can do that in a matter of minutes. And then I'm going to show you how the things that need to be put in place ahead of time to allow you to do that, because you can't end up doing it right on site with the customer. So one thing that after talking to quite a few attendees that signed up for my 30-minute session, which we'll talk about more later in the webinar, but was, a nice professional proposal was one of the things. But I ended up hearing a lot of feedback that job costing and cost data and cost codes, how to track from your estimate to your budget, your allowances, all the way through to your financial software. So I think that's, depending on the feedback we hear today, we're probably going to schedule an upcoming webinar on that topic, because it is very important. And if you're not using cost codes now, I urge you to take a look at it, because it can really change the way you run your business. So Again, like templates and project specifications, that's one of my favorite things about Clear Estimates is what it does with the powerful templates that it has, how you can customize, create your own templates, and I'm going to show you that here shortly. And then beyond that, tracking your hours. Clear Estimates does all your labor hours. And in fact, I just had a client I met with just last week that is wanting to separate their subs hours instead of just entering a sub bid as a subcontractor line item. He wants to make sure those hours are in there so we can add that to his schedule, but then also import the subs bid into as a purchase order into his project management tool. So again, we'll probably let us know what you're looking for, but we're most likely not next month, but maybe the month after, or sometime in the near future, going to do something on cost codes, job costing, and just kind of tracking your financials all the way from literally from the design through the estimate to the proposal, allowances, selections, purchase orders, all the way right through to your accounting software, which most of you guys are probably using QuickBooks. So, from estimating, then once you've got that estimate done, the next step is the sales process, and again, this is kind of the other side of the sales and marketing automation. And so there, I did talk about, we have a ton of stuff as far as like phone scripts, email templates, follow-up sequences, just things that we can help you with that are professionally written. You can customize them for your business, for your region, your services very easily. And the amount of time that it saves you, the professionalism, it's pre-qualifying, pre-selling your clients for you. So let us know if you want to hear more about that. And then when you actually get that meeting scheduled, you get out to in front of the customer in their home, are you just winging it? Most guys, most people are, and you've probably been doing it a long time, so you're probably pretty good at it. However, if you've got a strict process that you follow and you do it every time, you're going to get better results. I can't stress enough, how we implement. We're all about systems. Everything we do is the systems approach to sales, marketing, estimating, design, everything. So again, some of these things, overcoming objections, just a whole meeting protocol that walks you through the process, even down to client portal, which we touched on a little bit last time. I don't think we're going to have time to get into today, but and the last thing, I just mentioned the client portal. I'm going to kind of skip over that and we can go through that another time. But from then, it really comes down to an efficient process from the handoff from sales to production is really where most companies run into what I call communication breakdown. And if you don't have, some systems and processes in place, just a way to handle that, then, it's always going to be a problem, so we've kind of got a unique process that we use and we help our contractor clients implement that really makes, it streamlines the process and it makes it enjoyable for everybody involved. So obviously the next thing, and this is going to be one of the last things I'm going to talk about here, but the project management, that's where really where the rubber meets the road. You make your money when you sell the job, you procure it through project management. And, that's kind of, I don't know whose quote that is, but I heard that at one point and it makes sense. So we've got a bunch of stuff that we can help you with there as well. And then one of the other things that the resounding response was contracts. A lot of guys don't have the proper terms, call it boilerplate. I'll show you a little bit of that in Clear Estimates. But the contracts, that is, if you don't have a good contract in place, you are going to regret it. I can assure you that at some point, if you haven't already. So I've got a set of contracts that are custom written. They've been revised and they're time tested, that you can see here, exterior contract, basic agreement, basic contract agreement, full remodeling agreement, extended master subcontract. I mean, everything you're going to need for contracts. And then back to, I showed you before, the design agreements. So those things, those things cost money, and I've got thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. Well, add up court costs of having to go after clients over the years, and I've probably got over $100,000 invested into those contracts, creating, revising, customizing. Call it school hard knocks, but I don't want to have to see you guys go through that. They can be, I've got them for about half a dozen states nationwide, because every state does have a little bit different requirements. But I can have the attorney that I work with, the law firm, can adjust them for your state very easily, probably within just a week or two. So moving on, this is another big thing that I hear, and this will be the last thing I talk about before we jump into the estimate, but cash flow problems. And I hear that a lot. And it's not that you're not working hard and you're not making a bunch of money, but it doesn't matter if you're doing $1 million a year or 2 million or $3 or $5 million a year. If you're not profitable, if you're not estimating correctly, you're not going to be profitable. If you're not project management efficiently, you're not going to be profitable. So I've got a ton of cash flow solutions. There's lots of ways to look at how to solve those issues. Let me know if you're having those issues, and we'll take kind of discuss and dive into it. So that being said, last thing, anything you guys want, we're here to help you. So what it all boils down to, like I said, it's absolutely a smarter approach to building and remodeling. So if you're interested, and you want some help to build and grow a strategically designed business that provides an experience your employees will embrace, your customers will love, and you'll be proud of every time, let me know. So let's get down to it. Let's get busy, and let me pull in our estimate here, and we'll kind of show you. I'm going to pull in. Excuse me, my screens are messing with me here. All right, so here we go. So I use a program called Chief Architect. There's Soft Plan. There's multiple different plans out there that you can, or design software you can use. This is the one I've used. I've used it for, I don't know, 11 years or so. Am I not? Let's see here. My screen gone. I think everybody's, Jack, can you make sure that
Yep, we can see you fine.
Okay, that's not showing up on my end, but all right, I apologize for that. I just want to make sure everybody's seeing what I am seeing before I go into it. But so here is a look. Again, I can show you for this plan, I can show you a quick the overall view. You can see, that looks pretty much like that photo that we talked about. You're not seeing some things because they're not showing up here in the design, but that's that house. That's the as-built drawing that I created, but we're not doing anything on the exterior. So here's the interior. It is literally, it's a tiny little project, but whether the square footage is twice the size or 1.5 times, it really isn't going to change a whole lot. It just comes down to, the walls are in a different place. It's a little bigger, it's a little smaller. So this one's 32 by 28. Again, you see it's just a rectangle. Stairs right in the middle. This is your furnace and ductwork right here. So looking at that, you can see kind of from a 3D standpoint. Here's the issues we ran into. You saw those photos. This is the plumbing that's in place, obviously exact location in the slab. That's the 3-inch or 4-inch drain for the toilet. And then you've got some stub ups of 2-inch drains and another one over here, and then that's the sump right in this area. So, I mean, you can kind of see this is, that's pretty much what we're looking at where we started. There, it is a daylight basement. It's a block wall down here. Not sure why they did it the way they did, but this is a 6-inch block wall, and then it actually steps out and gets thicker to a 12-inch, and then the back wall is actually 8-inch. So never seen it that way, but again, I always refer back to that saying, there's as many ways to do it as there are guys doing it. So moving on, you can see, if you look at, it's probably hard to see here, but this is option 5. I usually do 3 options for a client, preliminary design options, and this one ended up just, you wouldn't think, being such an open canvas, that it would be a challenge. However, with the layout of the stairs, how small it is, the location of the windows, the furnace, and then this plumbing, it kind of proved to be a bit challenging to get the clients what they needed, to fulfill their needs. But you can see they wanted a master bedroom, and they wanted 2 bedrooms downstairs. They wanted, shouldn't be a master bedroom. This should be living room for some reason. I'm not sure why that got renamed that. I'll have to fix that later. But this is a living room area here, and then master suite. But so anyways, you can see here's the exterior walls. The way we've designed it is literally just framing a 2x4 wall on the inside of the existing basement, foundation walls. Prior to that, we'd be adding a 1-inch rigid foam, to create a thermal bridge, somewhat of a vapor barrier, and press, put that directly against the foundation wall. So to give you, I'll go back to this because I want to show you some numbers here in a minute, but just give you a 3D view here, a kind of a perspective view. Here is, looking at it from above, you can see, here's the bedroom, living area, master bedroom, living area, and then the bathroom, utility room. They've got a nice little walk-through closet, laundry area, utility room for the water heater and plumbing, and then a showers, toilet, and a vanity. And you see this is the ductwork and the furnace that we were dealing with. So there is a little bit of soffit work that needs to be done, but it really is a pretty simple job, but let's kind of dive right in to the estimate. And I want to show you one thing before I jump into clear estimates. When you build, everything you do, you should think of it from, again, a systems approach. When you build your design, think about how you're going to estimate. When you estimate, think about how you're going to present your proposal. Your proposal leads to your contract. Your contract leads to allowances, to budgets, to, everything all the way through the job. So if you keep those things in mind, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So for example, when I build the design, this design is where I start and where I get my numbers for, you can see I've got cost codes right into my estimating software, for wall framing, my cost, my pricing for materials, everything is built right in here, for the 4x8 1-inch rigid foam, for fiberglass insulation. This is a wall component, and this is literally set up based on a template that I produce in Clear Estimates. So everything that's in that wall template, call it an assembly.
Wyatt, sorry to interrupt. When you're showing these line items here, you may want to zoom in a little bit. It's a bit hard to see, but yeah, if you just zoom in a tad on when you're showing these, that should work.
Let me see if I can't do that real quick. This is a little challenging to zoom in on this program, so I don't know if I can right here, but I'll show you the same thing in Clear Estimates. But again, just remember that when I create a design, depending on the type of wall, this is that wall. Okay, I'm going to just exit out of here. But you look at, here's that wall. Okay, that wall goes around the interior parameter, excuse me, of the basement. Okay, so then when I produce a materials list, I know that that wall component is, where is it? Right, it's right up here. That interior basement with 1-inch foam, there's 114 lineal foot. There's 101 lineal foot of the interior wall. This is what I call the interior external, and then there's all the actual interior wall. So those type of numbers are pulled directly from my design, and those components are, excuse me, those assemblies, those wall assemblies and other things are brought right into clear estimates. So, I mean, I can go into, how I get square footage, how I get all those things. But what I want to do is I want to show you let's pull in the actual estimate here and start doing that. That's what we all came here to see, right? So, here is, I always, just from a sales standpoint, I always like to call my fictitious homeowners John and Mary, John and Mary homeowner. So I've got this project. Now, again, I pre-built these templates for this basement, this full basement remodel presentation ahead of time, but I'm going to dive in a little bit deeper and show you how I did that once I put this together. But this is how easy once you get your account set up, and again, Jack's available for training, and I'm available to help you, implement some of the templates and cost codes, and basically pull all of your systems together. But we're here to help. So let us know what you need. But again, I'm going to jump right in. So I've got you've got customers, projects, reports. If you're not familiar with clear estimates, obviously your customers is where you enter your customers' information. Projects is where you'd create a new project, which I'll just jump back to there just so people can see that. So here's John and Mary homeowner. I can do a new project, or I've already got that project created. So I'm just going to look. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Push the wrong button. Excuse me. So I'm going to find that project that I just there it is, right? Oh, that's not it. Must not have saved it. So, all right. So I'm going to load this brand new project, and again, we'll just call it the full clear estimates, full basement remodel. All right. And from there, we're starting from square one. All right. You can put much more information in here if you want, but I'm not going to for now. And usually where I start is I go right into templates. Again, I'm going to add templates to this estimate. Come on. But you can add, one thing you want to keep in mind when you build a project is compartmentalize it, and also do that. That's what's called components within the program. You can do alternates, what you can consider those options or alternates, whatever you want to call them. But you also want to build it, depending on how you do it, but I like to do it sequentially. So I may not do it that way today just because it's, we're trying to get this presentation done and run through as quickly as possible. But if you build it sequentially, the numbers that you pull out of this estimate will pull into your scheduling software and things a lot easier. So that being said, if you build based on components, then you can separate it a lot easier. So again, I start with templates. I pre-built these templates ahead of time, but I'm going to show you, if we've got time here, I'm going to show you. So here we can see I pre-built everything that I'm calling, I just labeled it number one, so it puts it to the top of the thing here, top of the drop down. But we've got these different things. So let's jump right in and add that wall. So we're going to do that exterior, that full basement, interior, external basement wall. Now this wall, you can see there's a full description of it that I created, but it's got all the different components, the actual parts excuse me, not components, the 2x4 walls, the treated plate, the wedge anchors, the drywall, the insulation, the base molding, everything that's kind of attached to that wall. I know there's going to be the same amount of lineal footage of base molding as there is as the actual wall. So I remember pulling it out of Chief Architect. There was not 144, there was 114 lineal foot. So I calculate those quantities based on this template that I've pre-built, and it populates. Now, something to pay attention to is what you do next is going to affect your overall estimate. So I always import as these templates as a component, and the other thing I do is I add it to an existing component. So I'm going to go ahead and add this template to the estimate, and we're off and running. So now we look at the estimate here, and you see all those parts with the cost codes that I use. Again, these are NHB cost codes based on the category. All those items, the labor hours, the material, the labor, the markup, everything is there. And again, markup, that's a whole nother conversation. But I always use 50%. I kind of feel like that's the industry standard. I got clients that literally go as high as 80%, some that go as low as like 30%, but to each his own. But if you don't know your numbers, you really can't know exactly what you should be marking up. So, okay, so here's that component. You can see COO, that's component 0. Okay, there it is. I can open that component up individually and edit it, but I'm just going to keep going and add another template to this estimate. Okay, and come down here and let's just do the interior walls now. And there was 101 lineal feet of that wall. Again, all of these things are already built in there. So I'm just going to calculate the quantities. There it populates. And then I come down here and I add it as a component again. Okay. Now this is going to get a little bit redundant here, but so I'm just going to kind of jump through and do the rest of these. And then we'll jump into that estimate. So if you want, I mean, I can show you. So then plumbing. So the plumbing for the bathroom, we can do that one. The bathroom was actually almost 100 square feet exactly by itself. We pull that in there and add that as a component, because plumbing is going to be a separate line item in your bid, in your budget. Keep going. We'll do the electrical. And I mean, just bear with me here. I know you've seen this before, but it really is that easy. So I'm going to do electrical as a whole, and then the total square footage of the interior of the basement is 773 square feet. I didn't really go through that with you, but I obviously know that because I designed it. So templates can be, and I'll dive into that and show you how templates are created. There's some really unique formulas, calculations, all that. They can be done based on a unit or lineal foot, square foot, kind of set them up however you choose. And now I'm going to show you one thing that's a little different. So I've actually got the basement electrical as one, and then I've got the bathroom electrical as another. So again, the bathroom was 100 square foot. That's the way this template is set up. I'm going to add this template to the existing component. And now once you do that, it creates a drop down over here, and I can choose which one I want to add it to. So again, I want to add that to the electrical template. So now I've just added 2 templates to the one component. Oops, ran into an issue here. Every time I do these presentations, my bandwidth, I hope that saves. If it doesn't save, I'm going to be frustrated, but gotta love technical difficulties here. Let me see here. Jack, any ideas
Yeah,
what's happening?
just go back to the project. Just click on the project button again.
All right, that's
Yeah.
it saved some of it. That's good. So what did
Yeah,
I miss?
I think it just maybe that last one that you added.
Yeah, that might be a bug. You might want to look into that for because
Yep,
I
definitely.
added a component to a second added a template to a existing component is what it was. So anyways, I'll keep moving here. Sorry about that, folks. Get a few more things into this estimate. So then we've got flooring, minus the bathroom flooring. There was 660 or 73 square feet, and they're doing, based on what we discussed, they're doing luxury vinyl, like a Mannington Adura vinyl tile. So that pulls that number in there, and as a component, add that template to the job. Couple more here, folks, and then I'm going to show you kind of where we're at. I think I got most of them done. Doors and millwork. Quantity 1 is this the way I set. So this is, again, this template's based on pieces, and I'm not going to get into that too much, but you can create templates how you want them to function based on what you're bringing in. So we'll talk a little bit about that here shortly. But it's literally, I mean, I don't know how long I've been on this, creating this estimate here, but let's see if there's anything left. I'm not sure if I have any other templates to pull in. Let's see. I believe that's all the templates that I've got. So now again, that's not the complete scope of work for this job. But now if I go back to the actual project, all right, we're going to see this project is laid out. Here's here's all the parts that are in this estimate. You can scroll through them just like that. All right. The way to do it is, because I've compartmentalized them, adding them as components. Now I can open up those individual components here. So we've got 6 components. It starts at 0. Okay. So now if I want to add, we're doing, there's a egress window that needed to be installed. I can add a component. Okay. So it's going to ask me to, name the component. So I'm just going to say, egress. Is there 2 G's in that? I think. I'm not sure. Oh man, whatever. All right. So then we can start adding parts just like that. So we know we got to do some. Excuse me. Where'd my numbers go? Anyways, there. Some concrete demolition. We know we got to do that. So we scroll through there, and I'm just going to do 8-inch and search. That's going to pull up usually the 8-inch block, poured wall, thick brick. Not finding what I want here. So framing general. Let's try there. Yeah. That's what you get when you don't do this stuff ahead of time. So the either way, I know there's a part in here for actual block. You can usually search for it. I think I'm not doing the search properly, but we're not doing the footing. So demolishing a pure block wall. Here it is. So 8-inch by 8-inch by 16-inch, with vertical reinforcement. It's based on square footage. Excuse me, I don't need that. Based on square footage. So we're going to add this part. The window is going to be, we'll just call it 4 foot by 4 foot. So let's just say it's 16 square foot. Knock it off. Apologize for that. I got upcoming meetings I got going on. So we can either customize this or just add that part to the component. And we can continue to do windows and doors, so we'll do a vinyl window, go down to search casement. Okay, and we'll do a 3.0. How about, there we go. And we only need one of them. Adjust. And you can see then I could add the trim, and I could continue to add the parts to this component. Because we're running out of time though, I'm just going to kind of move on. I'm going to close that out, so I've got those two parts into that window component. And then I just go down here and I save it, close it, and you'll see that was added to the job. Scroll down and there's the egress window. Now let's say that they were going to potentially do some stair railing on the stairs, but we weren't sure if they were going to do that. Then I would do that as an alternative. Again, it's the same thing. You would just enter in your what the alternate or component's going to be, and then we'd start adding parts again. Okay, so we'll just add one quick part to that one just so there's some numbers in there. Oops, just one of those. I don't think that's the one I want there. Well, we'll add that there to the job, close that out, and save that, and then we'll call that good for now, and we'll be able to see the alternates, the components. So there's our estimate. You can see it's got the labor hours, labor costs, material with markup, everything's there, your base bid. So if that was done, if we were done and happy with that, we would jump right into reports and present this to the client. Now this is another part of the system that you'll want to get familiar with. And the boilerplate, that's where you enter your terms, your standard terms to your agreements. And I'm not going to get too into that today because we don't have time, but there's preliminary, formal. I kind of call this proposal and contract. So I'm just going to show you a formal report. And now you can do this a couple ways. So you can preview it, come on, in a PDF, or what I like to do is open it in Word, and then, because then it's editable and you can make a couple changes or customizations if you want. And let's see if that opens up. And you'll see, because I've got, my logo and different things built into there, the customer's name, the, company name, home remodeling contract, the different terms here. Let me see if this will zoom in a little better, but there we go. But you can see, again, there's all the terms that you need. A large remodeling contract, you need to have good terms, tell you what to do, when to do it, and what to do when things happen. And then it leads into the project specifications. And that's what's powerful about Clear Estimates is it gives you the exact line by line what you're doing, how many linear foot, how many square feet of this, what you're doing, what you're not doing. You're not providing materials there. gives you all that. And it does break it down in pricing based on component. And I prefer myself, I'm a one price guy. They get one price at the end, and that is it. So before I present, I make sure I get rid of that. And I think there's an option to do that. But you see the detailed project specifications here. I mean, there's page after page, and then it gets to the signature acceptance. So that I upload that into my project management software, and I make the client e-sign that document right then and there. So
Wyatt, do you want to show the alternate that you added as well?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, that was at the bottom. So good call. So right here is the alternate. Now here's what I usually do in this situation is most projects usually have multiple alternates, and you can go back and forth with a client trying to figure out and get all the different options and all of those things ironed out. I am kind of a fan of getting a signed agreement, because then we all know we're going to head in the same direction. So what I usually do is right on, once this produces this, I literally just come over here and I add a quick little line for an initial, just literally just like this. And I think and then you can do another one for declined, if you want, and then I make the client accept or decline that. And then when if they do that right then and there, if they accept it, then I go back and I actually pull, because when this is an alternate, it does not give any of the project specifications, the line item things right here. It just gives that, and just gives the actual title and the price. So if they were to accept this, because this is so easy, I would literally jump right back into Clear Estimates, go back to the project, and then scroll down to that alternate, click on the alternate, open it up, and then change the designation from undecided to accepted. And now that's gonna pull that into the overall estimate as a component. Okay, and I'll close this, and then we'll reproduce the report real quick. And we're almost at the top of the hour, so we're gonna probably just jump into questions. I did want to show you how to customize those estimate or those templates. Excuse me, what am I doing here? All right, so yeah, again, I'm just going to do the
Wyatt, as far as the templates, we can I can help with that as well via support. We also have tutorial videos available on customizing the templates. It's pretty in depth, so if you have questions, you can schedule a time to talk with me, or you can check out our tutorial videos. If you go to clearestimates.com, click on support, and then go to the tutorial videos, there's a great walkthrough video on creating your own custom templates. So that is where you can do that.
Yeah, so I guess that does get pretty in depth, and that could be literally an entire webinar in itself. So you're absolutely right, Jack. And you guys take advantage of the help that Clear Estimates and Jack they offer to you, because your success is their success. The better you're using the tool, the more success you're going to have, the more you're going to use it. So I cannot stress the how powerful these templates are. And to be honest with you, I spent maybe, I should track my time, but it wasn't more than a couple hours customizing the templates that you saw that I pulled into this job and this estimate. And again, this isn't a 100% complete estimate. It would take a little bit more time to do all that. because there's a few things that I've left out. But when we look at the overall project, we pretty much covered everything. I've got the interior doors, the molding, the windows. All the windows are existing except for this egress window was added. The tile, all the flooring and wall coverings, I believe we're in there in that bathroom portion. Millwork and cabinets, everything was there. I mean, for the most part, I may have left out a few things, getting this prepared, but it's get a template. I mean, one basement remodel to the next is not going to vary that much. You can create a template based on a room, based on a whole basement, and add whatever it is you want to these templates. And don't get too complicated with it, because you can add multiple templates to a job, as easy as you want. So that wall component that we discussed, when you do a basement remodel, how do you finish the inside of your wall, inside of the basement? Do you put rigid foam on the wall and then, put some vertical like slats or purlins, or how do you do it? In this case, we just framed a 2x4 wall, put 1 inch foam against the foundation, framed a 2x4 wall. So then we've got an area for electrical and plumbing, fiberglass insulation, vapor barrier, and then drywall. So it's pretty simple, but there's many ways to do it. So however you do it, or you recommend that you do it to your clients, build a template for that type of wall, for that type of assembly. And you can do that for anything you do. And then as you build your estimates, once you've got those templates built into your account, as you build estimates, you just pull those in and adjust the lineal footage or the square footage as you need. And it's literally that easy. And I mean, I can't stress to you enough what it does, compared to an old yellow legal pad or even Excel. And I could show you some stuff in Excel that I've built over the years that have some very, very complex formulas, logical formulas, things in that I have Excel software that literally you enter a few numbers and it does all of the estimate and writes the contract for you. And I did that out of necessity because some of these tools, they just weren't available years ago. And now, yes, that Excel proposal estimating tool that I created, is kind of obsolete. However, not everybody wants to use a cloud-based or estimating software, but I know I do because of the easy use and keeps everything there. It's all in one place. So
yeah, and just a couple things about kind of the templates and a few other things, and then we'll get into the Q&A here. Just to note, Clear Estimates comes built in with about 60 templates for things like additions, bathrooms, garages, kitchens, decks, interior and exterior wall systems, painting. So just by default, you'll see some of those. Wyatt did create his own custom templates, which you are more than welcome to do. So that is, why he was using some of his own custom templates, and we'll be glad to help show you how to do that. I also posted a video in the chat about how to create your own custom templates. So that was just a quick note on what Wyatt was using there. They were custom templates, but we do have templates built in.
Yeah, and that's
already.
Yeah, very good point, Jack. And everyone, just to be clear, this tool right out of the box is literally the most powerful estimating tool that I've used, and I've used a lot of them. And the templates is a big part of it. So you can see, I mean, I've got a bunch of custom stuff built in here, but these 2-story additions, slab additions, basement, siding, I mean, on and on, bathroom remodels, bathroom additions. There's some of my decks, kitchen remodels, wall systems. I mean, you said garages, there's you said 60 templates. These come with the program. They are built right in there. You can be off to the races right out of the gate. And that being said, the templates that I built and customized myself, guess what I did? I took one of these templates, duplicated it, and then basically customized my template from there. So I didn't start from scratch. I'm using what Clear Estimates provides me, because why reinvent the wheel? They've already got a ton of stuff in there, and it's just very easy to customize. So like Jack said, these things are already there. If you need help, there's tutorial videos, and you can reach out to Jack to get more help.
Yep, and actually, Wyatt, if you don't mind showing this, the duplicating and editing the templates is also shown in the template tutorial video. Wyatt, if you can just put your mouse up to that support tab in this top center of the page. The second option down is the tutorial videos. That's where you'll see all of our tutorial videos for all sorts of things, including the great one, which is almost a half-hour long. It's very in-depth about how to create your own templates. So I would definitely suggest checking that out. So since we're a few minutes past the hour, I think we can we'll dive into some Q&A. I got a lot of questions about the replay and our contact info. I just wanted to let everybody know you will get an email, probably a couple of emails in the next few hours, that will include a link to the replay as well as our contact info for Wyatt and myself. So you will get all that information coming to you soon. Let's see. We do, excuse me, we do have a couple of offers that I'm going to put up on the screen for you on the right side, just while we're doing the Q&A. We have a discount offer for 10% off of Clear Estimates for 6 months. So if you want to do that, you can look on your right side. You'll see the link, and there'll be a coupon code for you to check out. Wyatt's also offering excuse me. Wyatt's also offering a free consultation to the first 10 people that register. So I'll put that link up in a few minutes as well. And so let's just go into the first couple of kind of maintenance questions here. Wyatt, are you going to be able to link or provide a link to the PowerPoint that you had earlier today?
Yeah, in fact, I can do that. If we want to add it to the email, Jack, we can. If not, I can follow up with everybody myself. And I have you can go and view, actually you can view the entire slide deck, which is over almost 50 slides. I think we just looked at like 8 or 9 today, I forget. But that entire slide deck is there. It's got a ton of information. So we'll make that available to you. I'm not sure how. If we can get it in the email that goes out, we will.
Yep, we can do that.
So, all right. Well, then that'll be done if Jack can do that, because we'll get that in there.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Just a couple other things we had. Let's see. You had talked about your automation resource. Are you going to make that available? Is that a resource that you have as part of as part of like a toolkit that you sell, or how does that work? Some of the automation you talked about.
So I, just like with Clear Estimates, I don't sell Clear Estimates. In fact, I don't even really promote it, other than I'm a fan. I use it, and if my clients or whoever I work with are going to use an estimating tool, this is the one I recommend. And of course, everybody may have something they use existing. I urge you to take a harder look at Clear Estimates, because I've used a lot of tools over the years, and this is where I basically have found home. So the Clear Estimates is its own software, its own company. The automation tool, marketing and sales automation tool that I use is HubSpot. And if you are interested, I am a certified HubSpot partner. You can absolutely go out and look at HubSpot all on your own. You don't need to go through me. However, I can get you guys discounted pricing and get you access to the CRM and the other tools that I use, and help you get set up. So a big part of the whole automation system, yes, is the software, is the all-in-one platform. However, it is just that. It's a software tool. You need a lot of the templates and the different things that you need to implement into those tools to really make all that work. Just like Jack said, I'm offering the first 10 people that sign up. I believe Jack shared. Did you share that offer, that link already, Jack?
Yep, I'm going to in just a minute
Right.
here. Just a
The first 10 people that
Yep.
sign up, I will give you a more, well, it's a free 30-minute session that we can take a look at that. We can take a look at your estimating. We can literally jump right in and work on an estimate. We'll do whatever it is you want to do, discuss what you want to do. I'm not going to try to sell you anything because I'd rather learn who you are, where you're at, what you need, what you're struggling with, maybe where you need some help, and then maybe just point you in the right direction. Because I use basically, I call it a software suite of tools. Clear Estimates is one of them. And as you saw, Chief Architect is one, but I have some clients that use other design software and use other tools, but the stuff that I use, I have found that it works and it works well. And if you want a demo on that before you would go out and either purchase or look into it deeper, I can do that for you, because most of the tools that I use, other than obviously Clear Estimates, are not industry specific, and I've built the things out so it's literally customized for builders and remodelers. So feel free to check it out. If you want, reach out to me and I will send you some links to some tutorials and videos on the tools, or just schedule a session with me and we can take a kind of dive in and take a harder look at
Great.
them.
Great. I know we got another question from Dan. Dan wants to know what tool you use for your e-signatures.
Well, that's a couple things, depending on what I do, but for the most part, I am using a project management tool called Builder Trend that I pull my estimate into that tool, and it's easily exported from Clear Estimates and imported into Builder Trend, and it creates all of my info right there and creates a proposal, and I can gather my signatures that way. I can present it to the client that way. So that's usually how I do it. However, there is situations where that just doesn't happen, that the client hasn't been taken through that process yet. And I will use DocuSign as my favorite tool. And because you can do in-person signatures, or you can just send it out for signature via email, and it's all very legal. And so that is a tool that I have and I use. I think there's a free account. You can do 5 a month or something like that, 5 signatures a month. And then it upgrades from there to $10 or something. I don't remember, but there are a few other tools,
Great.
but those are the ones that I found that I like the best.
Great. Perfect. So we got another question from Kevin. Kevin wanted to know if the project that you were giving the example of, you had said it was a real project. Did the project finish? How the actual costs match to the estimate? Anything you learned from that project? Well,
to be perfectly honest, that one hasn't gotten to the construction phase yet. So I have our next meeting will be presenting the final designs. As you saw, there was part of my design build development process, project development process, is a discovery meeting, preliminary design presentation, and then final design presentation. And then once that final design is done, then we create and approve, then we create the plans. So right now, the next meeting would be the final design presentation, and then we'll produce plans and it'll go to construction. So, however, to answer your question, I guess not to answer your question, but to talk about that, I utilize Builder Trend for job costing, and that gets into, again, stressing the importance of job codes or cost codes. So looking here, and let me find my mouse here. Looking at my screen, if you see these cost codes, Clear Estimates comes preloaded with close to 10,000 parts, I believe, and it's a Remodel Max database. It's a phenomenal database. It's very good. And you can very easily customize the categories so that they are they go along with the NHAB chart of accounts and cost codes. So once you do that, and then you pull these estimates into your clear estimates into Buildertrend, it automatically tracks the job costing as long as you're doing it properly. So right down to, and that's again, that's part of my consulting services, is I help my clients get set up and get their clear estimates accounts linked and everything, the chart of accounts, the cost codes, everything set up to where when if they're using a project management tool, it does the cost code, the job costing and tracking for you automatically, and all the way through to literally the time clock. Your guys punch in, and they punch in on that job. They punch in and they do a tag. Basically, I'm working on demo today on John and Mary homeowner's job, and it tracks all of that, tracks the hours. Once you purchase the materials, you do a PO, the job costing becomes an automatic part of your project management. And if you're not doing that, how do you really know until you do your taxes at the end of the year how much money you made? You know, I just 2 weeks ago, one of the clients that scheduled a meeting with me from the previous webinar, they took advantage of the 30-minute session. We did a follow-up session, and in that follow-up session, they basically came to light that they're losing money. You know, they're at that point where they're robbing Peter to pay Paul, because they don't even know where their numbers are at, to the point where when they estimate, they don't know if they're going to make money on the job. So that is a really, really dangerous place to be. And the whole cost coding, again, I'm pretty certain, I'll have to look at the feedback we get from the webinar today and obviously talk to Jack, but I'm pretty certain that we're going to do a whole webinar just on chart of accounts, cost codes, job costing and tracking, because that is very important. Because anybody can jump in here and start using this estimating tool, and it is very powerful, but these numbers are not necessarily going to be your numbers. You know, maybe your crew takes a little longer than the industry standard to do framing or whatever it is. If you don't track your job costing and then adjust that number, it's never going to get better. So by doing job costing, you constantly tweak and adjust your numbers, and pretty soon you're accurate because you're always tracking it. So I hope that answered your question, Kevin. If you need some help with that, schedule a meeting and I can show you the process. And it's not that challenging to do. It just does take some time to implement.
Great, perfect. I just want to let everybody know that a couple seconds ago, I did just put up a poll. If you wouldn't mind filling that out, it's just a quick one question. What topic would you most want to see next? We are, like I said at the top of the webinar, we're doing this for you guys. We want to make sure that this is useful. If there's a topic that you want to learn more about, or want to hear Wyatt's opinion on, or our opinion on, or someone else's opinion on, we want to know. So if you can just give us a quick poll, or if you have any suggestions, feel free to email me, and we'll be more than happy to help out with that. Just a couple more quick questions, and then we'll finish it up. We have, excuse me. Someone wanted to know about the contracts that you had briefly shown. How can they get that customized for their state, and what should they go through you, have that conversation with you, and you can talk about how to use those contract templates or whatever you had set up?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is something, like I said, that is a tool that I use. Obviously it is for sale. So the process would be is schedule that, take advantage of one of those sessions, those 30-minute sessions. if they, I'm not sure, I don't know how many people have booked those sessions, but if that's what you want, before I would sell those to you, I'd want to know, well, what do you need? Because you may not need all of them. You may just need the remodeling contract. So I do sell that. And then the way, if I don't have it customized for your state, what I usually do is basically I will have my attorney customize it for your state, because I know that there's future clients that will need it in your state as well. But depending on where you're at, that may be the case. I may already have it. It only takes usually a week to 2 weeks at the most to get it customized. You usually can start using them right away, because there isn't that many differences between state to state, but you do want to make sure you're legal. So
yeah,
we have
and Wyatt mentioned at the top as well, as he went through a bit of this school of the hard knocks, trying to take maybe a few clients to court and things like that. And you definitely want to avoid those expenses. And, so those getting your legal stuff in line is, maybe not the most fun part of the job, but, it's definitely something that's going to save you in the long run. Just two more quick questions here. And as we're going over, we want to make sure that we're respectful of everybody's time here. We got a question from Mike. He wants to know if you can tell him real quick about how you can take the quantities out from Chief Architect and to put those into clear estimates. So things like linear feet and square feet of the different things you'll be doing.
Let me see if I can pull that up. So I'm gonna assume, Mike, that you are a Chief Architect user. Then anytime you create a job, you can go right up to tools, go down to material lists, and calculate your material list. Now I already have that one open over here. So you can do it there's quite a bit you can do with material lists. So now all the tool does is create a material list based on the design that you created. So again, if you're not building your assemblies and stuff properly, the material list is not going to represent that. So so the numbers within the material list tool, it's pretty powerful. You can do linear length. You can adjust the material list to just how you want, to a cut list, literally to a buy list, like what you would send to your supplier. So how I get those numbers out, depending on what I'm getting. Am I sending my vendor a material list, or am I trying to get linear footage for creating an estimate? I would do the linear length, and that would be, I'm going to come in and I'm going to see that there is, 121 or 1,221 square feet of, that's actually just a paint color, but, it does everything from the doors to cabinets all the way through. I think this one was just for let me adjust it real quick and I'll show you an example of the power of it. So here, let's do that. It's going to change a little bit. So for example, one of the ones that's real simple is roofing. It gives you the manufacturer, whatever product you put into the design, the Owens Corning Desert Tan, 11 and 2/3 square, does your sheathing, your soffit, your lineal footage of fascia. Those numbers are all right there. Now as far as pulling that stuff in, there is a way you can import, a spreadsheet, but it's really not necessary. You've got this right there. I literally just punch in my numbers to my templates based on what this produces. So I hope that answers your question, but it's very simple. A design creates a more accurate estimate, because this is 100% accurate based on that design. And I know the design is absolutely accurate. So the numbers are there, they don't lie. So you do need to figure any waste or anything like that. You have to figure that on your own. So
yeah, and I'm sure that the Chief Architect support information has some good info on how to go through that process that Wyatt just walked through as well.
Your user chief, that they got 600 plus videos to learn how to do that. If you want some more in-depth training, look me up, and love to help. So
Great. So just a couple quick things as we finish up. Thanks, Wyatt, so much for doing this. It was, I think, very helpful. Got a lot of good feedback in the chat. We did have a question about Clear Estimates doing job costing. Clear Estimates does not do job costing. It's really just for the estimates, but you can export estimates to QuickBooks. You can also export estimates to Excel. So there's a few options you have there as far as doing that. And a couple other things. Again, I just want to make sure it's clear to everybody. We will be sending out an email with all the information for getting the discount from Clear Estimates, getting a free walkthrough or free consultation with Wyatt, as well as the recording of the webinar itself. Which, if anybody was having trouble viewing it, which I think one or two people were, it will be much clearer. So if you were having trouble with your internet connection earlier, this will be crystal clear on the recorded version. And that is pretty much it. So I just want to make sure everybody knows it will be available. You can also go to clearestimates.com. I'll do it right here, clearestimates.com, and go to our webinars page. So if you pull up our main site and go to the support tab, down here at the bottom, you'll see webinars. This is where we're going to have this webinar will be posted here later on today. You'll get the link to view it directly earlier than that, but I'll post this later on today. But we've got, you can sign up to be notified about our webinars just with your name and email, and our previous webinars, including Wyatt's one from about a month ago, is available here as well. So what you can do here is you can sign up to get notified about more webinars. You can also view the previous ones, and the one from today will be posted, I'm hoping, in a few hours. You'll get an email, a couple of emails in the next few hours or day giving you the information for that. I also want to, excuse me, I also want to just pull up that poll that we had. We had just about everybody pretty much even on marketing, lead management, hiring strategies, legal, and closing the sale. All got 13% or 16% of the vote. So if you're looking at the poll on your right side, you can see that there. A lot of people wanted to know about the financial and cash flow aspect of it. So we'll have to take that financial slide you were talking about, Wyatt, and I know you can do a full webinar on each of those slides, so we can probably expand on that.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, great.
So we'll just have to, I think based on the response, Jack, maybe we should maybe create a calendar and just put the upcoming ones out there, and then continue to do the polls. And then if we get, like this one, that's a kind of surprise to me, but that 29% for the financial cash flow. But again, if you're struggling there, everything else is not very much fun. So
yep, exactly. And just a couple things. We're all set here. I appreciate everybody watching. We still do have a few people on, so I did want to mention we've got another scheduled webinar on April 7th. That's going to be with a gentleman named Kyle from Remodel Your Marketing. He's going to be doing a marketing webinar. And then we've got also another one scheduled with Wyatt later in April, I believe on the 21st. Am I correct on that, Wyatt?
Double check, but I'm sure you're right.
On the 21st of April, we'll do another one with Wyatt, and he will be talking about never having to give out free estimates. So we had a lot of response from that in the last webinar. People wanted to know how they can stop giving out free estimates. I know a lot of people struggle with that, or if you're not giving out free estimates, you know how great it is. So we'll be doing that on April 21st, April 21st. Just keep an eye out in your email, and we'll be sending out all the info for that. So if you do have any other questions, please let us know. The email is support@clearestimates.com, and you can just let us know, and we'll be more than happy to help.
Yeah, so that the whole the whole no free estimates thing. Uh, Used to do it myself, but literally once I adapted these strategies, I I mean, I was kicking myself. Why did I not know this sooner? you know,
Yep.
so it's pretty exciting stuff. So I would highly recommend taking a look at the calendar, and getting that set aside. So I think you'll get some value there, and I think I'll even give away maybe a free uh, email template or something. I'll figure out something we can give away to everybody so they can maybe start the process themselves. So
Great, great. Okay, well, we're all set. I'm gonna hang out for just a minute just to follow up with any questions on the chat, but looks like we're pretty much closing out. So thank you everybody for joining. Take a look out in your email for the replay link, and then also in the next couple of weeks for links to our upcoming webinars. If you found this one useful, you will certainly find the next one's useful. So stay looking out, and thanks again, Wyatt, for putting this together. I think it was great. It got a lot of great response in the chat. I think everybody found it very useful. So thank you so much for putting in the time, and hope everybody has a great rest of your week and great weekend. Stay safe out there.
thank you, Jack, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.